Alrighty, welcome to Tavern Talk. My name is Artenin. You have beside me Ronan and
Yes.
Bucky. How you doing today, gentlemen?
I'm good.
Yeah, after getting over that spell that wizard put on me, that was one heck of a sleep spell.
Odin is not with us this afternoon, as he is still under that same spell. So, or he switched to undead, I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, he is wandering the wastelands somewhere. So,
Best of luck to him. I hope we find him soon.
Definitely.
Indeed, indeed. We are trying a new format this time. We actually have two cameras running at the same time. We are going to be recording this session, and we are streaming it live on Livestream. The goal of this was so that we can still have the live stream version, but then we can actually do a more professional version of Tavern Talk and record it, put some nice intros in it, do a lot of the stuff that we can do with the regular videos, and then release it later this week. So if we can do that and make the transition to actual recorded not podcasts, LarpCast, we call them LarpCast, but they're podcasts, then we can get a little bit higher quality. We may be able to transition and do both. That way we can still integrate. If the viewers at home want to comment, they can still chat with us while we're doing the podcast, the LarpCast. And we'll just see how it goes as we just keep playing with different things here.
Eventually, we do want to get where we can have people call in or type in or send us an email or while we're doing it, and while we're doing it, we'll be able to answer the questions right then.
Right, absolutely. That's going to be the way we want to do it. It does appear that Odin has a new sword coming. He ordered it last week. It's Calamassel. That's the brand that I have. I don't remember which exact one he has, but and since he's not here to talk about it,
I think he ordered this Squire sword.
Yeah, it would appear that would be the one. I'm looking at it right now, but
I just don't know if he got the short sword, the long sword, or the bastard sword.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yes.
When it comes in, then the next Tavern Talk, we'll actually do a review on it, and you can see it up close and personal. So it'll be cool. This week we did try a new technology. We actually recorded our first live action roleplay event, and we did a 3D version of it. We do have one 3D video up on the YouTube channel. Putting the glasses on doesn't seem to work so well. It's more formatted for the TVs that can do 3D imaging. There's two different types of 3D. That is what my training was all about yesterday. I took pretty much all day yesterday to figure out how to do different types of 3D. So if we ever have to do that, we can do it. But I don't think the technology is where we need it to be yet to get enough people immersed into the 3D thing. There's just that technology is still trickling into the a lot of the TVs that we haven't quite seen yet.
Right.
And the prices are continually dropping, so we'll see them eventually.
It's the same thing it was with DVD players. DVD players when they first came out were like $400 or $500. Now you can pick one up for $50.
Yeah, or less.
Yeah.
They'll just now people are just giving away their DVD players because they just got their Blu-ray players and
Right.
So as technology progresses, I guess. We did have a donation for a sizable quantity of brats from Johnsonville to do a brat fry. Unfortunately, it's at the kind of the wrong time of year. It's cold, but we're going to probably try to do something in December or maybe January to promote something happening in the winter time, so that we can get out and stretch our legs a little bit. Might just do it during a live event.
I mean, that's one of the things that keeps us a little bit different than other communities, LARPing communities, because we actually want to do it in the winter. We actually want to, be out there. You see the snow falling, and we just dress appropriately. You should be all right.
And we have something a lot of other realms don't have, and that's a huge heated indoor facility with bathrooms and places
water
to,
fountains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, just it's cool. Wildlife inside the building, live wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be utilizing that in the Maywood realm. But the whole idea of the Broad Fry was to raise some money, I guess. Right now we've been just donating. Each of us as independent players have been donating their time, efforts, financial, and equipment to make everything work, and it's been working pretty well. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to need the money for right away. There are a few things that we would like to get, but when you start building money into an organization, it tends to have a negative effect on some of your volunteers because everybody wants to spend the money differently, and it can actually break that community apart. So you got to handle any type of fundraiser very carefully. I prefer to do it not as the group. The group as themselves would own nothing. We would do it under the actual LLC of LARPing.pro, just because then it's actually, it's a for-profit. It has a way to handle taxes. It has a way to money flows better there, and then you have the people who make the decisions in that can make them more soundly, I guess you could say, without making a lot of other people upset. Because when you volunteer for something like a brat fry or something of that nature, the people who volunteer think they have control of those dollars, and what that does is, again, it splits the people apart. It splits everybody up.
Right.
So we definitely don't want that to happen as we're starting to get more people now, and but there are some things we really want to do on LARPing.pro that are not in YLARP.com to make it the transition better, and just everything. So kind of going along with that, we actually did, Odin, myself, we did start taking in product for the online store that's going to be at LARPing.pro. It may be its own domain, which would be battlestuff.com, or it's going to just be underneath, inside, it'll just say store in LARPing.pro. Right now it seems that if you buy an item in LARPing.pro, we'll be able to put together a formula so that your character, if you buy it in your character, you'll get XP points. You could get XP points for purchasing an item through the store. So you're going to actually build your character. We're not talking thousands of XP. You're not going to be able to buy your way into another level, but you spend $300-400, you're going to get X number of XP, depending on how much you spent. But it's not going to be super a lot, but it's just a good way to reward our players that are in our community. So we're playing with that right now, and it looks like it's working. So it's going to be
that sounds exciting.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We have had some website rule and storyline developments. There's going to be a drop-down menu when you create a new player on LARPing.pro. We started working on the logos for LARPing.pro. And so when you actually go to create a player, it'll make you print out the waiver. It'll make you do the safety video quiz. It'll have just a specific drop-down. So if you pick a certain race, it'll only give you those classes under that race, so that it's kind of dummy-proof. To start with, and that way you can't put all this time and effort into one character, not realizing that
you can't play it.
You can't play it because it's not set up that way. Ronan, Odin, Bucky, myself, we've been spending a lot of time putting together the rule book, what each class can do, what each all the cool things that are going to be happening with each different type of race and character class. And there's some new things that you haven't seen anywhere else. We're incorporating a lot of stuff that, and we're inventing some of the stuff up that, it's really going to be neat. And then we're also going to put into effect the sword lengths, dual wielding, all those criteria of how you can spec for those will be finally in writing electronically. So you'll be able to download that rulebook as soon as we're done with it. And then in 2011, we're actually going to start making tutorials on each type of class, each type of race, what is dual wielding, what is an axe, just going through all the basics so there's absolutely no stone left unturned. Because while we're out there actually playing the event, all it takes is us to just grab the recording device and just, hey, let's do this video, and we'll just hammer out a few videos.
We'll get that out of the way, and
and then that helps other players and other communities that may want to convert into the LARPing.pro community. It'll make it much easier for them.
We're also gonna. I'm assuming we're gonna make it a lot more. We're gonna make it clearer for people. Like a short sword is 23 inches. That's from the hilt to sword tip, and that's not just blade length. That's the entire thing.
Right.
Things along those lines.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll also explain it just as you explained it. I would say tip to end.
Not
total length.
Right. Not just blade length. But
right.
Total length.
And then we'll put in parentheses hilt, and we'll start familiarizing them with the parts of an actual weapon. As it goes. So again, as we're explaining the rules, we're also educating them on how to actually what the parts of a weapon are.
Right.
So you don't have to know, you wouldn't have to know anything about the game, and that's how we are doing the building block steps. So we're writing pretty much every week. We use Google Docs to coordinate. Everybody takes certain parts of the rule book and certain things, and we start writing it down. We do live sessions, kind of like we're doing right now with the LarpCast, but it's just more informal. And we do a lot of brainstorming activities and those types of things too. So it's really coming along.
Yes,
definitely.
We're going to get a different camera. Right now, we've been recording the HD video with my professional DSLR digital camera, and it has a 1080p live video mode. So we do that, and we've been trying with external mics. I did get the cold shoe mount for the microphone, because you've heard in some of the videos you hear the microphone cords bumbling around, so that won't be a problem anymore. So if we do have to record off of that, that's the way we'll do it. But we're going to get a nicer, very much it's a professional. It's one you'd actually use in a studio. So we're going to go with that. It's an entry level for big studio stuff, but it'll look a lot better than what we've been using. So and it'll be a lot easier to manage. Hold, because that one actually you can use on the glide cams and the crane cams, and we got all that stuff here to use, so it's going to look pretty cool. So we've been talking a lot about technology. We've been talking a lot about the advancements, just because summer wound down, fall was more like an extension of summer. It really didn't. It was really nice. We had really nice gameplay even on Halloween.
Yes.
And
until the sun went down.
And then the sun went down. It just was like 60, 35.
Literally that fast.
It was. We did some really neat ground fog effects with it, bringing in the fog. That was really, really neat. I would have brought fog in here, but studio equipment does not like fog. It fogs up the lenses and stuff. But it's cool.
No, it was cool out in the realm when
Definitely.
the fog machine would go off, and you're like, oh, somebody's cooking something at the...
Yeah, at the tavern. It was, and then when the sun went down and then the air condensed, it smushed that fog into like a band, a sheet, and it would just come across in sheets. It was really neat to see. Unfortunately, the camera I have is not designed to pick up HD video
in
darkness like that. So the image was completely grainy. I couldn't use it in pretty much anything. So
there's always next time.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah. We're playing with it. It was enough where we were thinking of some cool intros for the undead class or race. We're gonna do some neat videos with that. Introducing the undead race for 2011. So it's going to be fun to watch. We've had some questions come across email. What is a LarpCast? And it's basically easy way to say this is it's a podcast, a video podcast or an audio podcast specified to LARPing. So LarpCast.com, you'll be able to find casts like you're seeing right now, and other organizations. We're going to try to design it so other organizations can also host their files on that site, because I did get it where there's unlimited bandwidth and a limited number of users. So that's what you need to do to host video and audio files, because it takes up a tremendous amount of bandwidth for people who are watching it. So you got to make sure on the backside you're not limiting yourself, because otherwise you'll go to larpcast.com, and if the bandwidth is all used up, it's gone. You won't even see it. So got to watch for that.
In other words, a LarpCast is exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah. We're doing a LarpCast, and the one we're doing is Tavern Talk. That's the official LarpCast of YLARP.
Definitely.
So that's the 3 tiers of it. LarpCast is what it is. Tavern Talk is who's doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Of that group. That group's is called. Our group is called Tavern Talk. So that's pretty much it. We were going to actually do a how-to video of how to build a sword, so we're going to do that in this video. Before we do that, we're going to take a look at some of the other videos that we put together recently. So enjoy those as we prepare the table for making a sword. We're going to do a how-to session, so stay tuned.
Winch, bring the duct tape.
When you're playing a game and someone gets hurt, you call for a medic or an admin to come help. And pause is for, like, if someone does get hurt, you yell pause so no one keeps on playing. And you gotta ask the person if they're hurt, just in case you don't know if they're hurt or not, because they might not be hurt, and call an admin and you don't need them. And hold is when someone's having a fight, because one person hit their arm but they didn't, or something like that. You hold and probably get an admin to help you sort it out, or maybe just do this battle again, stuff like that.
Already do it.
Yeah.
Victory!
All right, we are back, and we are going to be doing a making of a basic foam LARP weapon.
Your head's
We're
cut
gonna do
off.
a very short sword. I'm worried about that one, not that one.
Oh.
This one will replace this one, so.
Yeah.
So basically, some of the tools that we're going to need here. You need your noodle foam, preferably with the hole in it. You'll need a PVC, fiberglass, or carbon fiber, whatever, some sort of composite type material for your chassis, your base, your structure core.
No metal.
No metal.
You can't have metal in there.
What about wood?
I wouldn't allow
I would
that.
say no
I would-
wood as well.
Probably.
I don't know.
Someone
If I hit
probably
you
get
with
hurt.
this or I hit you with a piece of wood, you're not going to know the difference. This is going to hurt probably even more than wood. This will
Until the
break,
wood breaks.
This will break less. The only thing would be more cautious on wood is if you go to
breaks?
strike somebody and it breaks, and then there's a
Yeah.
spike.
Right.
Yeah. So PVC,
Is the best.
fiberglass cores are usually the best actually because they provide more flexibility with strength.
Yeah, and
But-
as I found out with that longsword, you don't want to make them too long because you get the whip effect.
Right. Yeah, they get really flimsy. So the longer the weapon, the thicker the
Material.
core has to be.
Mm-hmm.
A solid core material is going to be heavier, and it's going to be less strong than a core that has nothing in the middle, and that's That's pretty much, most people don't realize that a hollowed object, think of your bones are actually hollow on the inside. This is actually a stronger type of design. So you're going to need some kind of cutting tools, blades. We actually sharpened up a trowel to cut the foam, that sort of thing. And then you'll need a sharpener for that. Many different types of cutting materials. Now, if you are going to be doing this and you are not an adult, please make sure your parents are around.
I didn't have an adult when I made mine.
Okay, we're going to try that again. Don't interact. This is a safety thing.
Don't do what I did.
Okay, so
I didn't get hurt.
if you are going to start making your weapons and you have sharp objects around, make sure your parents know what you're doing and are there to assist you if you are not an adult. So that's much for the safety disclaimer. You're going to want a tape measure to measure out your length because there are going to be specific lengths. We're going to do a super short sword, so we won't have to worry about the length. But if you're starting out in the new LARPing.pro, your single-handed swords are going to have a specific length. You got to make sure you know which length you can make to start with a new character. A very tough cutter may also be used to cut some of the closed cell foam. That may be flat instead of this. It'll cut this, but it's not going to work very well. All the different types of duct tapes you do see here. They come in different colors. Chrome, white, black are typical. Electric tape, a lot of people use this for the handles. It's not as good as going to your sporting goods store and getting hockey grip tape, or batting grip tape. Those last. They hold up better than electrical tape. And electrical tape, once it gets hot, it'll start to tear apart, and then it leaves a sticky residue on the handles and stuff like that. So it gets everywhere. We don't really recommend electrical tape, but if it's there, you got it. You can start with it. To hold the core and the foam together, putting it in there, that works good, but even if it's taped at the ends, you want to have a way to hold the core to the foam. Contact cement is what we recommend. Do not use hot glue. It doesn't work. Epoxy, a lot of times it doesn't work. Flexible stuff like the contact cement or sport and outdoor adhesives made for plastics, those are going to be your best bet. Contact cement is super cheap. You can get it just about anywhere.
Would you recommend any kind of like silicone caulking?
You can use a silicone caulking. It would work just fine. We've made some with it, and it holds up well to temperature extremes, and it also does flex. So you can use just simple silicone bath caulk, clear or white or what color's not going to matter. It's on the inside.
On the inside, right?
But just something to hold it there that's going to be able to flex but hold is what you're looking for. One thing we don't want to do is use like a foil tape. This is a heat-resistant tape used in ducting, furnace work, that sort of thing. This is an actual aluminum tape. So this is, even though it's got a backing on it, this is aluminum foil. So it's technically a metal, and we don't want to use that in our LARPs. It doesn't hold up very well. Aluminum breaks really, really quick when it's that thin.
Then it becomes more of a safety hazard.
Yeah, and it does, yeah. And then it also peels apart, and you have to pick it up off the grounds, and there's a littering thing.
So in other words, you could have a really nice shiny sword, but it's not going to be very practical.
Yeah.
Right. You'll use it once, and then you just wasted all the money on that when you could have got silver duct tape, and that has lasted. Like this sword right here is made out of silver duct tape. Can't really see it too well, but it's got a nice sheen to it, and this has lasted pretty much every LARP we've done. We've used it at least once, so it hasn't torn yet. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to cut our PVC pipe to length. We don't recommend using a PVC pipe that, again, if you can do this with the length you wanted at and it's flexing and it's bending all over the place, once you put the foam weight on top of it, it's going to be even worse. So you want to have some structural rigidity there. So we're going to use this as our core. And again, we're using a very short sword. You wouldn't want to usually make this for your first sword's not going to be this short. Bucky, you want to go grab one of the other swords so we can see what the end product is likely to look like? Foam swim noodles, workout exercise noodles, anything that has a hole in it. You can get the stuff that's solid, but it's hard to punch through an entire length with getting it completely straight. We want to make sure that there's an inch of foam on the striking surface. That's what we're going to look for in tech inspection and weapons inspection. So Bucky here has what a final product is for a basic LARP sword that'll only cost you a few dollars to make if you go to your local store and just pick up these supplies.
One word of it's a lot easier to find swim noodles in the spring and summertime.
Yeah.
It's impossible to find them in the winter and fall.
Except on LARPing.pro, where we'll be buying those things up by the case.
Mm-hmm.
We'll buy cases of them, and that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. But
Well, then there you go.
and shipping's going to be tough too because it's a large object. So you'll probably pay more in shipping than you would for the actual swim noodle if you buy it out of season. But we're going to have them available just in case, and we'll sell them by the case, so promoters and organizations can buy them by the case, so that you can do these types of you can sell this stuff right on site.
Or have rental equipment like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and we rent our equipment for free right now. But when we get to lots and lots of people and we have to have hundreds of swords, we're going to actually have claim tickets, and we'll charge $1 or $2 or something. But that way somebody can still do it and get into it. Okay, so we have our determined length for our core. We have the sword foam we're going to use. What you want to do is you want to actually measure out an inch or two over the end of where you're going to actually have the end of the sword. So I've determined this is going to be a one-handed sword. It's going to be very short. It's going to be more like a dagger, but we're going to have a butt end on the bottom. So I'm measuring my hand, and I give it a little bit more room so that somebody else can use it. You don't want to have too much handle, though. Weapons inspections do look for that. If you got excessive amounts of exposed handle, if it's not foamed, they may not let you use it. So we're going to cut it off just a little bit above that. Now again, we sharpened a trowel. It's the easiest thing to use.
It's because the blade is so long, you got more. You can make a much nicer cut.
You can get, and that comes into play when you start getting long cuts, like for shields, boffer swords, that sort of stuff, where you're not making them out of the swim noodle. So if I put it on like that, I'm just going to pre-measure to make sure everything looks good. Then we're going to cut a butt out of it. It's very important to have a backside, because there is a lot of times where you're fighting. There may be somebody right behind you, and you might smack into the backside of them. So you need to have a protected backside as well, palm.
Yeah.
And you want that to be about an inch past the end as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
If you have to, make it a little bit longer and shorten it up. If you don't give yourself enough material to work with to begin with, you got to start over. So that's the basic palm of it. So very short sword, but a very short sword can come into a great thing if you're dual wielding, or you have an extra backup weapon or something of that nature, because you can get through a lot of stuff with a short sword because it's super fast. All right, now that we got our predetermined lengths, we're going to actually go ahead and put some contact cement on the foam, and then on the tube, and then put the foam over the top. stuff is, it can be kind of messy, so if somebody wants to hold it up here, we'll just dab her up real nice, grease it up. We might want to hold it over the tablecloth.
Looks tasty.
Before we put our actual foam on there, we're going to let it sit a little bit, and while it's sitting, we're going to tape up the ends of the PVC so it can't cut through the foam. But contact cement, you want to have it so it gets a little tacky. You don't have to do the whole thing, but just get a nice coating on there.
If you actually wanted to be, super extra safe, you could take what I found are those makeup triangles, and you could tape those over the end of your PVC. Those give it just a little bit extra cushion, just in case.
Right. A very good point. What we can actually do too is on our scrap material.
It smells.
We can take some of the scrap material, cut it carry a very slim amount off of here.
We do not
Ronan,
recommend
stop
it.
eating. Stuff this
Stop eating the product.
into the tip and the butt end.
This may have been easier to do before you greased it up with the...
Mm-hmm.
Nonsense.
He put liquid candy.
Alright, so we taped it up.
Again, may have been easier to do before you put the contact cement on.
Mm-hmm.
Nonsense.
That'll just help hold it later on.
Ah.
Foam tip that.
Polymorph.
Now we want to...
Ice stick.
That contact cement should be pretty well tacky now. So we're going to try to slip our... Keeps the handle nice and dry. There's over 2 inches of foam on the front half, so everything's pretty well straightened out. Now we'll tape up the back side. Again, we don't have too much room on the bottom side, so we don't want to go too far over on the contact cement. Bucky, you want to throw that on there?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of squeeze it in very gently. Good. Yummy. So we're going to let that contact cement, we're going to let it cure a little bit, and then we'll come back and tape it up. Okay, so we allowed the foam to cure to the pipe, and now Ronan's going to take over on the next step here.
All right. The next step, obviously whenever you slide these on, you're going to have little holes. Even though you did tape up the ends, put a little padding on there, you still have a hole on the end. Right here, and right here. Now, you're obviously going to have some left over, some extra foam left over. Some pieces would be too big, you just cut them down to size. And you take that and put it right in there. Actually, we're going to get a closer shot of this. See the hole right there? And right there? That's what we're going to be filling up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're going to have some scrap parts laying around. Just take it, stick it in there, make sure that it's in there pretty good. It's not going to pop out, because we're going to be duct taping the whole thing here in a moment anyway. Like, some pieces are going to be way too big. So you would just cut this down or find a smaller piece. I found a smaller piece that works out really nice. Just double it over and put it right there, and covers that hole right up. That hole's covered right up as well. Now, there seems to be some people will start at the handle and duct tape up. Some people will start at the top and duct tape down. There's no real set way you have to do that.
Whatever way works best for you.
Right. I mean, if you go from the top down, you can when you duct tape from here and from here to here, you can cover that duct tape up with black tape, the hockey tape, or any other tape like that that you may have, that you may want to use as a handle. Okay.
Have fun.
Yes.
Whatever's the cheapest.
Any duct tape will work pretty good. I mean, we're not going to sit here and discuss brands of duct tape because,
They're all the same.
well, they're not all the same. Some are.
Well, they all work the same.
Yeah, they all basically work the same. They're not all. There's some brands out there that are really cheap, and they smell really bad. I'm going to start off by doing that. There's no real set science to this.
Mm-hmm.
But you will go through a lot of duct tape.
If you do it the right way, you won't. Like the way I do
I
it.
usually do not do it the right way.
I do in strips up and down. That saves tape.
I'm trying to actually compress the foam just a little bit.
I do that with electrical tape.
Because we have the foam that we actually have right here with this sword. It's kind of a hexagonal shape.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did right there is I just put a strip around the end, left an overhang of about ½ an inch, and then just crush that down. And I'll come back and I'll tape this up to make it look a little bit better. Obviously, you don't want to take like a roll of duct tape that's 15 feet long and try to do this, because you want to have some kind of control of what you're doing. So just go in, I'd say 1 foot maximum strips. And if you get like a little kink in it, like I just did, it's alright, just pull it back and go again.
What?
Nothing.
I'm just watching you.
And we'll do one more strip on here, just so you can get the idea of what it's going to start to look like. Now, as you can see, like I said, we'll fix this back end here, or Bucky will probably, because he's going to be doing the handle. But from here, you just continue going up, and once you get to the top, it's going to be a little, not say tricky, but you're going to be doing the same thing that you basically did right here. So I'm going to keep working on this, and the next part of this will be Bucky explaining how we do the handle.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the handle with a different kind of tape if you want to.
Of course.
And he's going to be the one fixing the backside of this, because it's part of the handle.
I guess so.
Got a pretty smooth way of doing this. once you got it actually started.
I have never made
put it
a
on
level
a-
1 sword.
Or maybe just do
Put it on
strips
just
up and
a-
down. That's what I do. It saves tape.
I like to make sure that when we were making our sample swords, everything overlaps. Everything's pretty well, pretty tight, not super tight, but pretty tight. And that there's a few different layers on it. It holds up longer. If you want to, save tape, put some down strap or stripping down
That's
instead.
what I do.
But for this kind of stuff, I left some crinkles in there. I don't really care.
No one's gonna judge you.
We can always tape it up better later. And then I'm doing it this way to compress the ends, just to give it a nicer, more compact feel. And then we'll wrap it up like the handle afterwards. You want to really kind of tape your tips up good. Because
Because doing most of the work.
Right. With LARPing, a lot of the sword play that you do is a lot of blunt strikes. So
Mm-hmm.
once we have quite a few layers on the tip, we can then go back down again. But we'll do that after we're done here. Bucky, if you want to take the
Handle.
side.
The backside. Have fun with it. Well, I'm just basically gonna do the same thing I did to the back.
What I'll end up doing is I'll stop putting this. So you'll see a little bit of progression. So the whole taping will only take like 4 or 5 seconds. I'll release the video.
It's just getting it all in there first.
Mm-hmm.
You probably want to do the ends on the bottom side too. And we did it both ways. And it seems that way worked best.
What, with it taking the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, compressing the ends like that seem to hold it better to all kinds of fits than just wrapping it like this.
Thank you, Ronan. Our lovely assistant.
I didn't feel like a thing.
Thank you.
And okay, I finished the bottom end of it. I finished the bottom end of it, if you can see it. It's not that nice. We can make it better. I'm just doing it quickly. I'm doing the handle. Matchable handle. Electrical tape. Or whatever it is, I can use it. Yeah. So for the handle, I'm using the electrical tip.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this on.
Explain to them how to do that. Another option is to put the foam padding on the handle first.
All right. Another option you can use with these, with the handle, is if you don't want to hold on to just to like, if you don't want to hold on to tape, or if you don't want the handle to be so like, for my hand, the half-inch PVC pipe is a little small, so my hand really curves all the way around it. I can't really get a really good grip on like a pipe that small. Is pipe insulators. They come in different sizes. You can get the half-inch, you can get 3/4 inch, and I think they come all the way up into 1 inch diameter. The kind that I have actually has these yellow flaps on it.
Work great.
What happens is, once I get it on there, I'll cut this, and then I'll take these yellow flaps off, and there's adhesive in there, and it will actually stick to itself. Then you can tape it if you want to. You could leave it like this, just like this if you want to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here right now. And that sharpened trowel works really well. So you take this, slide it on. And this is also a good thing where it covers up a lot of the duct tape.
Mm-hmm.
Let me cut that just, nope, there it goes. All right. Now, since I've got it on here, see, for me, it actually gives me a better grip, and it adds a little bit more padding, just in case, you drop this or something and hit somebody. Not that would really matter, I mean. But then you take these yellow strips off. And the nice thing about this kind of pipe insulator is it sticks to itself. It's done. And then, and then we would definitely, you could wrap this up with tape, compress it even more, even if you have smaller hands. Things along those lines, and we're going to do that right now.
So even with all the additional explanation, I mean, this thing probably took less than 20 minutes to make, and total cost of materials is probably $2.
Less. I mean, if you buy the entire swim noodle, it's $2, and we only used how much of it?
Like
So this is probably like a 15-cent sword.
Really tight. Super tight.
Unfortunately, it's very hard to do this where the camera can see it, so I'm just going to show you the end result. One more go around the bottom. Safe side. And there we go. It's actually really nice.
Nice strong feel to it. Super fast, really light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the small swords have a big advantage in that category. Obviously, they don't have the reach, but you know, now this thing is, you know, it's ready. It's ready for battle. If you wanted to make it customized, all you gotta do is buy some different color tape. You can put some designs on it. You can do something, and we recommend you do that just so that people know that that's, you know, that's your trademark, that's your sign, your whatever.
That's your sword.
So they know it's yours from a distance.
It's like I've made several weapons, and I let people whoever wants to doesn't have a weapon wants to use a weapon, they can feel free to use my weapons as well.
So basically, that's making a short sword. And again, if you look at the other swords that we do have, I mean, you can see the length difference. You know, make it one that is going to be legal for your character class and your race, and then go by that accordingly. You know, go according to that, and then start from there. You can always make more weapons. We encourage more weapon making, and in these tutorials, we're going to get more advanced. We'll be doing a lot of layering stuff. We'll be making shields, axes, staves. So
Flails.
keep up with us, and you know, you'll be able to learn how to make a lot of this stuff. So if there's nothing else, I think we'll just end it on that. We'll end on one more quest video, and that'll be the end of this latest Tavern Talk. So we'll see you next time on Tavern Talk.
Okay, in this segment, we're talking about throwing non-throwing weapons.
What does that mean?
Don't throw a weapon that's not meant to be thrown, like a sword. People can get hurt, and you can get negative XP. Oh my god!
You would need it.
This kind of thing will either get you negative XP or banned, so don't do it.
Good. Perfect.